Kirk, it is 4th of July. You know what that means. It's time to launch some fireworks tonight. Are you excited, man?
I'm excited, but I'm worried about Uncle Terry.
Bag up, bag up. Bag up, Terry. Put it in reverse, Terry. Put it in reverse. Oh, Lord. Lord, Jesus. Oh, Lord. Oh, Jesus. What you doing, Terry?
The Rushmore Show, where it's all about your top four and nothing more. Andy, it was an amazing episode we had last week. It was our 6-month anniversary, our happy birthday. And Zoe came and wished us happy birthday on our intro. And it was so amazing to let all of our friends know what's coming the next 6 months. And one of the things that we talked about was obviously July. And we're here in July. It's the 4th of July, Independence Day. Andy, do you love Independence Day just as much as I do?
I love it so much, man. I am all about it. And look, today's topic is outside of like independence and freedom and, you know, all that cool stuff, democracy and all that great stuff. Outside of that, probably my second favorite part of this is just celebrating it, right? You know, waving the flags like you're waving right now, popping the fireworks. And also, I love barbecue, man. Going to a friend's house or doing it yourself at your house, just having everybody together, cooking some food, putting some stuff together, and just having a great time. So 4th of July, one of my favorite holidays.
Yeah. Are you a fan of fireworks?
Here's the thing. We're not going to talk about hot takes.
A few times, but are you a big fan?
We're not going to do hot takes today, but I do have a hot take on fireworks. Number one, there's like a week's window of time that it's acceptable to light fireworks, right? If you do it the week of 4th of July, I'm cool with it. But when it's like July 25th and there's still fireworks happening, or it's June and there's fireworks already happening, get out of here. Like, I don't want that. That comes from me being like a dog owner, and it just makes life crazy, right? So, I
love fireworks. I was the kid that would ride my bike, I guess, up to the fireworks stand and had a few dollars, and I'd buy fireworks, and I wouldn't let my parents know I had them. I'd put them in a little duffel bag, and I'd go out in the woods and pop them and hope I didn't blow my hand off because obviously that was kind of taboo. And then when I got older, I just love popping them. I have to go at least get a little bit, whether it's some Roman candles or some bottle rockets.
Snakes and sparklers are the only ones I like.
Got to do something to be a part. It's a little FOMO. I gotta shoot off at least something today. And but I do love barbecue, and that is going to be our topic for today, man. Barbecue, man. We have an amazing guest today. Guest. A good friend of both of ours. And matter of fact, without this guy, we don't have the Rushmore Show. We just don't. It just can't happen. And so we have one of my favorite people. He's my mentor, my pastor, a leader. And I'm sure you would say the same things, right, Andy?
Yes,
your pastor,
absolutely.
Mentor, leader. Anyways, today on the show, we have none other than Pastor Doug McAllister from Journey Fellowship.
Welcome.
Man, I am so excited to be on the Rushmore, man. I have dreamed about being on your show.
Hey, PD, why on earth would we invite you to come and do a little Americana with us and celebrate the United States of America and a little barbecue?
I don't know, man. I'm just glad to be part of the group.
Well, tell them, what do you love?
Pastor Doug, tell us a little bit about just the church and some of the things going on. And so our viewers know exactly what's going on here. Obviously, I was a youth pastor under you, and then I left and I came over to Georgia, and now Andy is over there serving under you. And so it's been a real honor for both of us. Tell us a little bit about the church.
Well, man, it's so good to be with both of you because I just feel so close to Kirk and Andy. In fact, in my mind, you guys are always connected, because y'all were so close while you were both here. And I love how the Lord always raises up a Joshua to every Moses. I kind of felt like, Andy was Joshua to your Moses, so it's just really good.
Well, that's a big deal. Man, I need a staff. I need somebody to hold my arms up.
Well, you have the beard already, so you're good.
Well, I got that kind of going for me. And I don't know if he was a cowboy. I don't think Moses was a cowboy, but this is a cowboy hat. And it actually is from Journey, from a camp that we went to. And Andy just got back from camp. He's a little worn out, so if he ain't speaking loud today, he's losing his voice.
We're in recovery mode. We're in recovery mode.
Yeah.
And he's got suns out, guns out. I mean, it's all about America today and rock and roll and freedom. So
I know. I see Andy's shirt. He has a really cool shirt on, man. I wish I'd have worn my red, white, and bluegrass shirt.
Red, white, and rock and roll.
So this is a well-known fact. Pastor Doug is a bluegrass fanatic. He loves bluegrass.
They're going to play bluegrass in heaven. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, it's what Jesus is playing, huh?
Yeah, you know it, man. It's the gospel at its roots. But
we are, man. It has been a great time catching up, Pastor. We're going to jump in and we're going to really get into the meat of this. And today we are going to do a Rushmore of barbecue foods. Now, all right, Pastor Doug, it is the Rushmore of barbecue foods. Now, look, earlier today, I sent out to Andy. I'm like, Andy, I know I'm the one that kind of was thinking about what can we do 4th of July? It's barbecue. Barbecue is one of my favorite things. I mean, hot dog eating contest with Joey Chestnut, fireworks, just Americana in general. What are we going to do? And man, we had to do our favorite thing. It's barbecue foods. And I was like, well, here's the thing. We don't usually talk about our criteria. Usually we tell the audience what each one of our criteria is, because it's our top 4 and nobody else's. Mm-hmm. And we kind of thought, well, there were 2 ways of looking at this. Is it barbecue foods, like the actual barbecue food that you're cooking on the barbecue or smoking, or, what all that meat that you're basting? Or is it you're at a barbecue? So you're coming to the family barbecue, and what are the top 4 foods that you are going to have? And I think by way of show of hands, that's me and Andy, that we're going to go with barbecue foods in general. So like we're going to grandma's house, we're going to Uncle Eddie's house, we're invited over at the picnic, and all the spread is out there, all those meats that we're talking about. So you could go all 4 meats with it. Or what are the 4 things that you are going to put on your plate? Mm-hmm. That is the top 4 things. You can only get 4 things. You got 4 squares. What are you putting on the plate? So that's what we're going to do today, the Rushmore of barbecue foods. Andy, you're going to go first, I'm assuming.
Yes.
And you're going to tell us, is your criteria any different than that?
So my criteria, like we talked about before, I just have this imaginary plate that is sectioned into 4 pieces, right?
Yeah.
And normally if you're going to go to a barbecue, you're going to have more than 4 options. But if the first plate that I go up and get, what are the first 4 things? I'm gonna skip over certain things because maybe I'll come back to them. Here's the thing: I like everything at a barbecue, right? So I'm gonna come back for seconds. It's gonna happen. But my first plate usually tells me where my heart is and what I really want, right? So my criteria is just that. If I have 4 sections in a plate, what am I gonna pick? Before I say that too, though, I want to make a distinction because most viewers from our area understand what barbecue is. I think the true definition of barbecue is not just something you throw on a grill. Now, there's that kind of mix up of like what's barbecue, what's grilling, whatever.
You got to be sweating into the food. You got to be sweating into the food.
Smoked meat is barbecue, right?
Yeah.
So a hamburger, to me, and my criteria, does not make that. But again, it could make it in yours, and that's fine. But so that's kind of one of the criteria for me.
Apparently, that's a cookout. A barbecue is going to have smoked meat at it. Right.
So okay. So that's my take there. That's my criteria, and we'll go ahead and get started. I'm gonna just go ahead and get started with my Rosie, my number 4, and I did just like you said in the criteria. I didn't just pick 4 meats because if I do that on a plate, like it's great, I'm gonna eat them. but I need a little bit of something. Okay. So actually my first two aren't even going to be meats. Although this first one, it'll make sense in a minute. My Rosie, my number 4, I thought about side items. Okay. So like what side am I going to pick? Okay. And for most meals, I'm more a fan of the side item, to be honest with you. Like I could get a plate of sides and be great, but I just picked one. My side, my number 4, my Rosie, roll that beautiful bean footage.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
I got to go baked beans. Okay. I love baked beans, and not just any, just straight up out of a can. My mom used to make it with, throw the brown sugar,
Yes.
throw the bacon, put the sausage in there.
Which makes it a bean.
Right. So anyway, so I love beans.
I love beans.
I love baked beans. It's a perfect side item. It's got that little sweetness, little bit of heat, vinegar, whatever it is you put in. Everybody kind of makes theirs differently. But I love that. I also like, this may be cheating, but I like mixing it with my other food. Like, so if I were to get like a meat or something, to mix those things together, which I'm not a big fan, or like I don't have to have all my food separated. I know some people are crazy like that, and their food
I mean,
can't
it's like
touch.
beanie weenies. I mean, come on.
Yeah, right. So anyway, yep, that's my Rosie. That's my number 4. What do you guys think about baked beans?
Bro, the first thing I thought of was how on earth have we done now, 26 episodes, and we have gone back to back with some beautiful bean footage. I said that last week. And I don't even know where that came from. I said it, and I was like, wow, that's funny. Then you come out with it again. Look, I love baked beans. Baked beans are a staple of any barbecue. As a matter of fact, it's a staple of any Americana food. You invite me over for burgers and dogs, you better have some beans.
Right.
I do love mom's baked beans. You got to have a lot of the sugar, brown sugar.
Yes.
And you know me, I'm a sugar guy. So sugar.
Give me sugar.
But it gets christened with that bacon. And
Yeah.
so, man, that's some good stuff. I love that one. I love that one, especially since there are a lot of sides to pick from, and that's pretty close. All right, so Pastor Doug, do you like baked beans?
I do, but I like to mix my baked beans with potato salad.
Oh,
Man,
Also,
if you
in
can
order
just
for you
kind of
to have baked beans, you got to have potato salad.
not 100% mix, but just kind of overlapping each other, you know, just touching and just enjoying the two textures and the flavors.
So what I'm hearing from, see, some people like the actual dividers in your 4-plate.
Nah,
You're not putting dividers in; you're just smashing them in.
I kind of want it
Get a
all to
little bit of that
overlap,
sauce and
man.
everything.
Yeah, I want it to touch each other, and I want to be in a real relationship, you know? Right.
good.
Love it.
All right, Kirk. So
Well,
let's
that
move.
is-
We're going to move on, Kirk, to your Rosie. Let the people know, what is your criteria for picking?
So, I mean, I said it before, we kind of talked prior. That is basically my criteria. I will say this, here in Atlanta, there are a lot of great barbecue joints that you can go to, whether it's music or like really ritzy joint or where grandma literally comes out with the collard greens and puts it on your. And so when I thought of the sides, I thought of something that was going to be at one of those barbecue places. Like it wasn't just I'm cracking over the can, right? And so my number four, I had to get a dessert in, dude. I had to get my dessert, and I'm gonna get it in right here at the front because, yeah, I mean, and I'm in Atlanta, so most people would say peach cobbler, but I'm gonna go with apple cobbler. Because I'm a cobbler all in general, but apple's my jam. You know that. Peach cobbler, that's fine. I'm not dissing that, or the cherry, or the even blackberry or blueberry. Or if it's cobbler, maybe cobbler doing some shoes, I'm eating it. I love cobbler, man. I love it. Especially I get a little ice cream with that. It's hot and cold. But I'm gonna go with, because I've never been to a barbecue place where even if I didn't have enough room, that I didn't have to at least try the dessert, because I know it slaps. And so I'm going to go with cobbler is my Rosie, my number 4. It's going to be on there. And you guys like desserts?
I'm a big dessert fan. So yeah, definitely. Absolutely. And you mentioned it too, and I'll count it. Ice cream cobbler isn't cobbler without ice cream. I'm just gonna say it. You've got to have the hot and the cold. Then the ice cream's kind of melting over.
Oh yeah.
That
And then you're like drinking
the
fruit and vanilla together.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I am not a cobbler fan at all. I just don't like the whole experience.
Oh, Pastor Doug.
It kind of just ruins it for me, man. You know, just the texture, the
texture. Too much sugar, huh? Too much.
It should be a pie. Like this thing should have been a pie, but it's not quite a pie.
It's a pie that fell apart. It just kind of
it's like a pie that didn't quite make it to the pie level.
Like a dump cake. It's like a dump pie.
Yeah, basically. So I mean, I can eat it if I'm forced to, which I would volunteer. But I wouldn't pick it.
So I'm hoping I hear a dessert or something for you because I got to figure that one out.
Yeah.
So
I got one.
All right, so Pastor Doug, you've heard me, you've heard so we got baked beans, we got cobbler. Now it's your turn to tell us your Rosie. That's Roosevelt. That's who we consider number 4 on the list on the mountain. Who's your number 4 starting your mountain?
My number 4 is it is not a barbecue unless you have some real homemade sweet tea.
Come on, yes.
Sweet tea.
Yes, sir.
Sweet tea is if you don't have sweet tea, it's not a real barbecue.
No.
There's a little hole in the wall joint up in Picayune, Mississippi, which is a much smaller town than Slidell, and they make the best sweet tea. And the barbecue is amazing, but man, their sweet tea is whole nother level.
Pastor Doug, do you want your sweet tea to be diabetic?
Yes. I have a recipe. Remember when we planted the church in Belle Chase?
Yeah.
All right. There was a seafood restaurant right down the street from the campus. Remember that little place we'd all go to after work days? So anyway, I was in there one day eating catfish, and the waitress came up to me and said, "Can I get you a refill?" And I said, "Yeah. What do you have?" I said, "I have sweet tea." She says, "Oh, we just ran out. I got to make some more." And man, their sweet tea was amazing. So I asked her, I said, "So what is the recipe here in Belle Chase for sweet tea?" And she said, "Oh, I can't tell you." I was like, "Well, you know, it's a pretty common recipe." She said, "Well, it's our secret." I said, "I'll tell you what, tell me, and I won't tell anybody that you told me." So I thought I would publish it today to the world here on Rushmore. Yeah. But she said, "I'll tell you, it's fine." This is what they do. They boil a half a gallon of water. They steep 2 family-sized tea bags for 7 minutes exactly.
Okay.
They take out the tea bags. They add 2.5 cups of sugar. 2.5.
Oh my gosh.
Then they add a half a gallon of cold water and stir.
Oh man.
Man, I'm telling you, I've been making it like that ever since we opened the church in Belle Chase because it is the best tea. Now, it is sweet. It's on the other side of sweet. You know, some people don't like it this sweet, but I made this morning because I make a gallon about every other day here because me and my family, we go through it all the time. It's the best part of the barbecue.
Pastor Doug, I know you've been all over the country. What state has the worst sweet tea? Because
any state north of Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
If you go to Illinois or New York or whatever,
like it's sweet tea. I'm like,
they have no idea.
I didn't
it
say
tastes
unsweet.
Like brown water, man. It's like, come on, now, this is not tea.
I need some sugar.
I never order sweet tea outside of the South ever because nobody can make it. It's good everywhere from Texas to Florida to Tennessee to North Carolina, but outside of that area, you know, it's a lost art. So it's not a barbecue without a gallon of sweet tea.
Great.
Well, we will accept that for sure.
I'm down. I'm down with that sweet tea pick. So I in college I worked at Raising Cane's, and that's another place that their tea is the amount.
So
if you're in the kitchen,
Popeyes,
watching them, if you're in the kitchen
those
watching them make sweet tea, it's almost scary how much sugar is going in there. You're like, what? It's like syrup. It's like pouring slow, right? So. Great pick. I love sweet tea.
Love the syrup texture that you don't like about cobbler if we're putting 2.5 cups.
Oh, it's not the sugar in the cobbler. I love the sugar. I don't like the jelly mix and the
gelatin. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I just kind of I don't like that.
Yeah. Great pick.
Sugar. I'm on board. Louisiana cane, best sugar on the planet.
Awesome. Great pick.
Nice. Pastor Doug, you mentioned some good old Louisiana cane syrup.
Yes.
This is one of my gifts when I left Journey. Somebody gave it to me, and I had to hold on to it.
Wow.
It's a good old Steen's 100% pure cane.
Nice.
Let's go.
That's good stuff there, man.
Love it. Sweet
Yeah,
tea.
man. So, hey, we are going to jump into TJ Jazzy Jeff. That's our fun little name for Thomas Jefferson. He's third on the list. Andy, TJ Jazzy Jeff, who's your number 3 on the mountain? Who we etching in today?
Number 3. Okay, so I have to add a dessert. I've got to put a dessert on my plate. I got to have it.
You flipped him. I see.
I'm not going to go cobbler, although I'd like it. There was another one that was almost on my list, was the poke cake, right? Where they poke it and they put like all that condensed milk and all fun stuff in it.
It's got to be red, white, and blue, too. It's got to be red, white, and blue.
Gotta love that stuff, but I'm not doing that. My TJ Jazzy Jeff could have easily made the George of my list today, but I wanted to put the meat at the end. Banana pudding, man. I gotta get the banana pudding in there. There is not a better bite of dessert, in my opinion, than banana pudding, with the vanilla wafers, with that banana pudding. Cookies. Or if you do, that's what I was gonna say. You can go the real like bougie version and like put those chess cookies in there. But man, just the simplest of it just makes me think of childhood. Pudding is great. Banana. I don't know what else I could say about it. It is so good. It's one of the things that doing keto now I miss tremendously, is having banana pudding. In fact, we were at the store today. We found some low carb like vanilla wafers, and actually they taste really good, but we can't figure out the whole banana pudding situation. So we're still trying to work on that. But I would probably break keto if I were to go on 4th of July to a party and they've got banana pudding. It is so good. Then you put some whipped cream on it too, and you just, man, it is a comfort food. It's one of my favorite desserts, not just 4th of July, but desserts.
I am so excited you said that and not something other. That was the other dessert. That was 4A, 4B.
I'm surprised you didn't pick that one. When you said dessert, I said he's saying banana pudding. He's doing it.
Right. Well, you know I love apple. I love apple everything. Right. Apple, peanut butter, those two are my things. But let me just say this. I have the George of banana pudding recipes. Right. It is off the hook. I'm going to have to send this video to her, but our old charge nurse at the hospital I worked at when I was going through ministry school, for my birthday, she had heard through the grapevine that I loved banana pudding. Right. And she brought this vat of pudding. I mean, this thing was huge. It was lined with chessmen cookies, bananas, real bananas, fake bananas, banana flavoring, vanilla, cream cheese, extra cream cheese, all this stuff, dude. It was so good. And I have it. So about 6 months ago, or maybe a little longer, we were going to do a party here and somebody wanted banana pudding. So I messaged her and I said, I'm going to get it. Is that you?
That was me. I was there when you messaged her and got the recipe.
I knew it.
You've talked about it since I've known you.
So we are going to do that next time we're together. Yes. We have to. I've got it. Yes. So good. I love banana pudding.
Pastor
Doug, you don't like cobbler. What are your thoughts on banana pudding?
Man, banana pudding is up there.
Okay.
My mom made it from scratch. You know, she didn't buy the box pudding where you add milk. She actually made the real pudding.
Yeah, the pudding was real.
Oh man, yeah. Well, back in the country, there was nothing instant, you know. So she would make it from scratch.
Awesome.
Add in the bananas and the cookies and a few other secret things. So yeah. We always look forward to Sunday dinner when Mama made banana pudding because it was better than the fried chicken, man.
Come on.
Nice.
It's so good.
Hey, I want that recipe, Kirk. I want that. I'll add it to my best of.
It's so good. It's her recipe. When I asked her for it, she's like, she did the same thing your lady with the sweet tea did. She's like, this is a little secret recipe, but I'll let you have it. Okay. So I'll have to shoot it over to her. Snoot. We called her Snoot. Thank you for that recipe. We're going to make it soon.
I've heard you talk about it before, so it's time you share that, man.
Yep, I'm sharing it. All right, so TJ Jazzy Jeff, it's my turn.
What
so
you got?
third on the mountain, I just did a little swap. You know, you went dessert second, and I'm going to go dessert first, side second. I'm going to go with my side. So here we go. If I'm going to the sides, I love a lot of good. Gosh, I love you mentioned it. You mentioned the baked beans and coleslaw and all those things. I love all those. But if I'm going to pick the number one out of those, especially if it's homemade, it's definitely the mac and cheese.
Come on.
100% the mac and cheese. So we got peanut butter, apples, cheese. Those are like the three major food categories for my life. But it's got to be so good. Like we're gonna. I mean, it's melty. It's creamy. I don't like chunky ones. No, don't like that. But I also like when it's cooked just enough where you could get that whole rim around of cheese. There's not many things that are really good burnt, but burnt cheese around the outside. Oh my goodness, that is just heavenly for me. I'm going with my side, baked macaroni and cheese. As a matter of fact, I'm going to just tell you this. I'm the only thing for me is that I like it to be creamy cheese. I don't care what kind of noodles. I don't care if it comes out of a box. I don't care if it is a box plus homemade. I just want mac and cheese, and that is it's got to be at every barbecue for me. If it's not there, I'll bring it. So that is my side.
Awesome.
My TJ
Mac
Jackson.
and cheese. So my question for you, and Pastor Doug, you can answer this one too.
Okay.
I'm glad you said baked mac and cheese because I do prefer that. Although, when it's in the pot and it's made, it's okay. It's whatever. But baked mac is where it's at. Are you a middle piece or that corner edge piece of the baked mac and cheese?
I'm always in the middle, but I'm going to scrape with my knife around just to get a little extra
Crisp.
side.
A little bit of that crisp.
crust.
Right?
Yeah.
What about you, Pastor Doug? What about
it's
you?
like brownies for me. I'm in the middle. I need it soft and creamy.
Yeah.
I am definitely in the corner.
Thank you.
Oh.
Yes.
In the corner where it's hard on the edge.
Mm-hmm.
You got to kind of chisel it off the pan.
The only issue I have with the corner is sometimes all the cheese don't get there.
Yeah.
So
If you get a good spread of cheese and the cheese kind of fries against the wall and it's just like, burnt cheese.
It's like cheese jerky. It's so
then
good.
you get to the middle. You get to the middle of the corner
it.
piece.
Cheese jerky. That we've got a thing. We just fell onto something.
Cheese jerky. That's a new idea. Write that down.
Or market it now.
So when you get to the corner piece, the hard cheese in the edge, but when you get in the middle of the corner piece, it's soft and delicious. It's like, just like
best of both worlds in that one slice.
Okay, so aside from cheese and of course a little milk and the noodles, the number one thing that needs to be in there is lots of butter.
The next recipe I'm making is 2 tons of butter.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of butter. If you make it with that kind of love, I'm in. I'm in.
Yes.
Yeah, Paula Deen built an entire empire on butter.
Yes, she did.
Everything she cooks, you need 7 sticks of butter.
Right.
That's how she starts out.
My son comes in the other day, Pastor Doug. My son comes in. I'm cooking food. I made like some meat, and I was like, I got to do some sides. So I pull out these 3 sides. I think it was like cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and broccoli or something. And I was just trying to clear out some of the stuff in the freezer. And I make them all, and my son's like, I don't like white broccoli. I don't like trees. I don't like, and I'm like, just taste it. And he goes, I don't like mom's. And he ate it all. And he said, I don't know what you did different. I said, well, I added lots of salt and lots of butter.
There you go.
So
Makes everything better. Makes
how do
everything.
you eat all of that? I said, you got to give him butter for vegetables. Butter for vegetables.
It's the key to life, man. Butter.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
So mac and cheese, great pick, Kirk. I love it.
Yeah.
Good side. That was also, just like you said, banana pudding was almost yours. That was almost my side. So we're close.
Okay.
It's not quite to the Crushmore, but we're
Look,
there.
I just noticed something. Pastor Doug went with sweet tea. So his plate is going to be in 3, not 4. So he's getting bigger portions on his
portions.
Well, I have a twist coming for my other 2 things. So I got a little extra coming.
All right,
Here we go. All right,
let's get
Pastor
your
Doug,
time.
what's your TJ Jazzy Jeff?
Yeah, my number 3 is potato salad.
Let's go.
Good.
Homemade potato salad with mayo and mustard.
Thank
Both.
you.
Both. Just a tad of mustard. You can overdo it. Lots and lots of mayo. Like if you're doing like a bowl, you need like a cup and a half of mayo and about 3 teaspoons of mustard. But man, and I like my potato salad a little on the creamy side and not quite the chunky side. So you get too chunky, it's almost like too hard to chew.
You got to mash it a little bit on the outside, like red beans and rice.
Yes, just like that.
Yeah.
And then it mixes great with your baked beans.
There you go. As you said before, great one. So confession time.
You don't like potato salad?
Well, no, and here's why. I like it.
Get off here.
But
Come on.
here's why. Here's why. Most of the time, and not everybody, most of the time, or at least in my family growing up, and Courtney makes it this way, she adds pickles to it, and I just can't stand pickles. I just don't.
Pickles are not allowed in my potato salad. I don't like
okay, well then I would like your potato salad. I'm sure I would. It's the pickle.
They're popular in the South. A lot of people do that, but I don't like
pickles or celery in it, and I definitely don't like fruit in it.
Yeah,
as well. So if you're the person that couldn't have grapes, get that junk out of here.
That's an abomination.
I do like an occasional hard-boiled eggs in it. I do like occasional hard-boiled eggs.
I put hard-boiled eggs and olives.
Nice.
On the top. That way, if you want them, you can dip them off. If you don't, you can bypass them. But I like boiled eggs and olives.
The olives could be the thing
so
that
recently, I've been tasked to make the potato salad at the events that we've had over at the house. And I've tried mustard-based. I've tried mayonnaise-based. I've tried both of them based, vinegar-based, all these different things. Yeah. And I think my favorite is a lot of mayonnaise and a little mustard, eggs. And I also add, instead of putting pickles in it, I put pickle juice in it. So
I've tried that before too.
Yeah. And so kind of somebody mentioned that, like that's how they make Chick-fil-A chicken and whatever, and they make potato salad. So I tried one time and they loved it. So it's okay. But I love potato salad. That was close, Pastor. That was close. That was probably my number 2 on sides. Baked beans probably 3. So awesome. I'm glad it has a showing on somebody's mountain, and it will definitely be down in the comments for sure.
Oh, it's a popular. I mean, it's one of the top ones that people are gonna. You think of a picnic barbecue, you're thinking potato salad. So I totally get it. It's just for me personally, my family made it with pickles.
I'm just glad we chose the top 3 over collard greens and coleslaw, because I like those too, but those 3 are definitely way above.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever done a Rushmore on SpongeBob SquarePants?
It will happen in August.
We should definitely do one. One of the best episodes in season 2, back when Steven Hillenburg was still alive, was the line when SpongeBob was on the beach and somebody stepped in the potato salad. And one of the characters that didn't have a name said,
"Way to go, buddy. It took us 3 days to make that potato salad." 3 days!
Best line in the whole season.
We are halfway. It is time for our top 2 Presidentes. All right, Andy, who's your link? Who's Abe Lincoln for you? Who's Link?
All right, so we got my dessert. We got my side. So that's taking a half of my plate right there. I'm saving the other 2 parts for meat. Okay, we're going to do it. It's about
Where's
time.
the meat?
We're getting to the meat.
We have the meat.
And my link, and I did this on purpose, my link is smoked sausage. I love it. So I went between George for this one because I really like it. And I said, well, it's made for this. It has to be link, right? But my 1 and my 2, you could give me both of them and I'm happy with them. But link, smoked sausage, I love it. The best part about smoked sausage, man, and is when you bite into it and it snaps.
Never do it, Slim Jim.
You know what I mean? You've got to get the casing.
It's got a crack in your mouth.
It's got to be like cracklings on the outside.
And then the juice runs down your chin.
Oh my gosh, it is so good. I love smoked sausage. It's one of my favorite. If I'm going to go to a barbecue restaurant, most barbecue restaurants I go to, it's you get the choice of you can get 1 meat, 2 meat, or 3 meat. I'm like, bro, give me the 3 meat. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And even if I do that, give me double sausage, right? Because I love it. I said beans were my Rosie, right? Got to have the smoked sausage in the beans too. But there's so many different types of sausage, right? So like some places you go to, you just get a straight up smoked sausage, which is so good. Sometimes you can go razzle dazzle with the little jalapeno cheese sausage, right? You've got different flavors of those things. But I just love smoked sausage. It is my.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because here in Atlanta, they don't do sausage the same way as Louisiana. But one of the things that I do love is I love going to the QT, which is basically racetrack, and get the jalapeno cheddar sausage links. And it's about the closest thing that I can get in spice on sausage to mimic some of that Louisiana stuff. But I'll just grab that as a snack and head on out, not get the bun, keto time. But that's one of my favorites. But I'm just going to throw this out there. Chili's.
Hi, welcome to Chili's.
Has they have this plate thing that's like a barbecue situation, and it's got 1 meat, 2 meat, 3 meat, and I always get the 3 meat because I have to have the slices of smoked sausage, because it would be the one I would eliminate out of the 3. And that I have to have a 3rd one just to get those sausages. Those things are so good.
This is the thing, though. See, so you say it, the slice. I want the whole link of sausage because you get the snap, right? Like you get to feel like,
I love the snap, but I need to get those sausages.
Yeah. The one thing, look, Louisiana knows is it's sweet tea, like Pastor Doug said, but also sausages, man. You stop at any gas station worth its anything, it's going to give you some sausage. And it also has to be in the sketchiest place, right? You go somewhere and you get boudin, and there's like this little flashing red light over it. It's
that barely stays on. Yeah.
It's going to be good, right? Now you're going to probably have to make sure that there's a restroom nearby, within a couple miles, right? But you know what you're getting into. But man, Louisiana knows how to do its sausage. I love smoked sausage.
You mentioned boudin. We're not doing crawfish boil, but that would be one of the 4 things at my crawfish boil for sure. But it's for all my non-Louisiana folks, that's our spin on sausage back home. It's just a delightful treat.
We were driving through Crotch Springs, Louisiana.
Billy's.
You should definitely do a Rushmore on the 4 weirdest names in Louisiana cities, because that would be one of them.
Yeah.
Who would name the town Crotch Springs? But anyway, so we're driving through Crotch Springs, and there's the biggest building in town.
Right.
Is a boudin store.
Yeah.
Boudin balls.
Man, it must be like 10,000 square feet. Of course, it's a gas station, restaurant.
So, PD, I had a friend that used to work on that bridge right there in Crotch Springs.
Yes, it is. It's right on the bridge.
It's right up past the bridge. And when I told him, back in the day when I was going to Alexandria, he said, "Dude, are you going through Crotch Springs?" I said, "I don't know." And he said, "If you go through Crotch Springs, I used to work at that bridge. You got to stop at Billy's, and you must bring me back a couple bags of boudin balls."
We talked about Crotch Springs on the Rushmore Show back in our New Orleans food episode with Mike Sanders.
Yes, we did.
And we brought up Billy's Boudin. We brought it up. Oh, my gosh. This is the 2nd appearance of Billy's Boudin.
It sounds like a horrible food, but man, Boudin is...
All right.
So that's a little bit off of the barbecue. I'm going to go smoked sausage for my
smoked sausage.
So, Kirk, where are we going to go? Where are we going for your link?
I'm going to go with Link, and it's probably number 1 for many people. It's just not number 1 for me. Number 1 is probably the George for a lot of folks, especially if you're a really good, if you're a technician with the smoker, right? Full disclosure, my wife barbecues at my house. I am terrible barbecue, and I burn everything. So, but if you are a technician, this is probably one of your specialties, and it's got to be the brisket. Mm-hmm. The brisket is going to be my link. I get the brisket everywhere. It's always my number 2 meat behind my number 1. I'm going to get those 2 every time if I go to the barbecue joint. But brisket, I mean, you can make brisket sandwich. You can, like I was just talking about Chili's. It might be sacrilegious, but they got a brisket quesadilla. It's insane. But brisket, but the one thing about brisket and most of the barbecue meats, and it's not something that I almost did this one. I almost put this as one of my 4 And I was like, nah, because they're all different everywhere you go. You got to have a good sauce, right? You got to have like a good barbecue sauce that has either spices or sweet, depending on wherever you're at, whoever they make it. And that lights those meats up. And I usually try and split mine in half and try one half sweet, one half hot. And that's just my go-to there. But brisket, I'll eat it with just a fork with nothing else. If you give me a little bit of that toast, it's going on the toast. I'm going to be biting on that. But yeah, barbecue, brisket, smoked brisket. Yeah, I'm a fan. That is going to be my link.
Good pick. I love brisket. Another place that surprisingly has good brisket is Buc-ee's. If you go there and you get the brisket, you see them chopping it up the whole time.
So hot take. A lot of people like Buc-ee's. A lot of people don't. The big deal about Buc-ee's and those sandwiches is you got to get them to make them fresh. Because if they've been sitting out there a while, that bread is nice and soggy. Most people don't like that. But here, I like the soggy bread. So I'll get all those ones while you're making them fresh. Yeah. I want the one that's been sitting up there for a few days.
So here's another hot take.
The world's biggest Buc-ee's in the Smoky Mountains.
Nice.
Right.
They just put one not very far from my house, Pastor.
Oh,
and
really?
Everybody's kind of going and testing out the brisket and the sandwiches. But the best thing there is the beaver nuggets. Got to have beaver nuggets.
Oh, yeah. We get those every time we go. But the exit to the Smokies off I-40 is exit 407. And there's a hill on the southeast corner that is empty, and Buc-ee's bought it, and they're building their largest store in America. It's like 50,000.
As if they weren't large enough. You pull up and there's like 100 people gassing up.
Yeah.
It's like,
there's like 100
waiting till Buc-ee's to gas up. There are 100 people there.
Yeah. And then there's an overflow parking if you want to shop. Yeah. It's the only place in the world where you can buy a brisket sandwich, or you can buy a tow trailer to pull your car on. I mean, everything in the world is at Buc-ee's. Whatever you need, it's there.
And I feel like every time I go there, I gotta buy a freaking shirt for my kid.
I know.
It's like,
and that little beaver thing with the teeth, man. My grandkids love that thing. Yeah,
I love Buc-ee's. But here you said a hot take about brisket. You mentioned one. I'm gonna give you a hot take real quick. I don't like sauce on my barbecue.
I can tell by your face.
I can
tell by your face. Because you're a dry rub guy.
I'm a dry rub. I'm a purist. I want the meat to speak for itself. I don't want now some vinegar and stuff is good. Sometimes you spray it with the apple juice while you're cooking it, or apple cider vinegar and stuff, and I'm cool with all that.
And look, if you don't have sauce, that's good. That's okay. I'm still eating it. But the sauce, if you're a good barbecue technician, you have your own barbecue sauce too. And so, man, I'm not talking about like putting my steak in it, right? I'm not that guy. I used to be, not that guy. But yeah, a brisket can have a little love on it, But we've mentioned it about wings. You don't like the wet wings, you like the dry rub. So
I rub wings, man.
That's your preference.
All the time. So that's a good pick. Brisket is good.
Lincoln, Pastor Doug, who is your number 2 on the mountain?
This was the hardest of all 4 because, it's just so many good things. 1 was easy. I knew what I loved most, but 2 was like, wow. So here's where I'm at. Pulled pork.
Nice.
Is my number 2.
Nice.
And I make my own.
Yes.
Nice.
I call it my world famous A&W root beer pulled pork.
I was about to say, I believe I've had this before.
You've had it. All of y'all have had it at one time.
Root beer in the sauce.
Yeah, y'all have had, everybody on our staff has had my pulled pork. And I got the recipe from a waitress at a restaurant years ago. So me and Cam were eating dinner one night, and Rachel was gone on a trip for the church. And the waitress asked, "Are you guys alone? Are you waiting for somebody?" I said, "No, it's just me and my son." And so she took good care of us. And I made a comment, I guess I got to cook dinner tomorrow night. And she said, "Well, if you're want to do something easy, let me give you my pulled pork recipe." So she wrote it down for me. The main ingredient is A&W root beer. And I tell you, man, it takes 24 hours to make it, but it melts in your mouth.
It's so good.
In fact, I cooked a crock pot full last Sunday, and all of our kids and their spouses and their kids came over.
So Pastor Doug, it takes 24 hours.
Yeah, well, by the time you prep it, cook it, pull it,
That is
season
some
it, put it in the
dedication.
fridge, it's a full day.
Yeah.
But most of the work's done by the crock pot. You set it, walk away for 10 hours, flip it, come back, pull it. Yeah. But you cook it, you put the pork roast in the crock pot, cover it with A&W root beer.
Nice.
And let it cook for about 12 hours.
I love that. We had that at staff retreat. We had that at staff retreat this year. So I
made that. Yep. I stayed up all night.
We're going to be trading recipes, PD. We're trading recipes.
Yeah, we got to do that, man, because I want that one you talked about.
What I've noticed, Pastor Doug, you steal a lot of recipes from waitresses. This is the second.
I do, man. It's the key to my whole recipe collection.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so good. That's so good. I love it. I love it. Hey, pulled pork, great pick. That's another one to me that, the A&W and stuff that you make in yours, that essentially that makes its own sauce that it's cooking in.
Yeah, and I always use sweet. Is it Sweet Daddy Ray's?
Sweet Baby Ray's.
Sweet Baby Ray's.
Yeah.
I always use his for the pulled pork. I've tried others, but his really complements the A&W flavor so good. So I use Sweet Baby Ray's. But on my pulled pork sandwich, I always add a spoonful of coleslaw.
Yes.
As part of the sandwich. So, it's kind of weird, but I do like it.
So he snuck in coleslaw on us. He snuck it in. We got it in there.
It's okay. You snuck ice cream in, so we're good. We're good.
I snuck ice cream in. He snuck. All right, cool.
I snuck bacon into my.
George, man, what a great time to talk about George on the 4th of July. All right, so Andy, who is your number one? What is the number one food that you're putting on that plate? You've got 3 things hanging out. You're moving everything over to get this one on there.
This is my favorite. I mean, this was. I said that sausage could have been up there, but when I really think about it, this is my number one item at any barbecue restaurant. If I'm going to somebody's house and they're making these, I just love it so much. And this food is much more than just the flavors. There is an experience to this food. There's an experience, which barbecue, there is an experience. It takes a long time. It's methodical. You can't just zap it in the microwave. Right. Even in a crock pot, there's not a lot of work. It takes time. Right. Mm-hmm. And this is just like that. My number one, my George, give me some ribs, baby. I want ribs. I love ribs. Like I said, here's a few things about ribs to me. I don't want fall off the bone ribs. Right. Yeah. I've had ribs where it's like you pick it up and it just gravity does the work for you. I don't want that. The meat tastes fine. But I also don't want leather that I'm chewing on. There has to be a little bit of a fight with a rib. There is nothing that makes you feel more like a man. Like you just this Fred Flintstone chomping down on this bone. And the best part, obviously, all the meat's great. But the 20 minutes it takes to gnaw off those little morsels that are left on there.
Let's go.
It's like I said, there's an experience to it. So I love ribs. You can give me really kind of any style of rib. I'm cool with. You like chilies, obviously, Kirk, so you may say something about chilies ribs. But anyway, I love it. It's good. And again, it's one of the ones, give me dry rub meat. That's what I want. I don't need sauce on it, although some people love to slather some sauce. Now, I will say sauce is good when it's cooked on the ribs. I don't want extra wet on top of it, right? It's cooked in the sauce and I'm cool with it. But yeah, ribs. It doesn't get more barbecue to me than just a rack of ribs on a plate. So what are you guys thoughts on ribs?
I absolutely love ribs. Ribs are they are the key. They are a staple of barbecue. Yeah. I love, so you mentioned different styles of ribs. For years, we always got the country style ribs. And basically no bone. And they're just big, thick. And man, Brittany used to boil them up first and then bake them. And that was my favorite meal for years. And then one day I just said, hey, let's try some baby back ribs.
Chili baby back ribs.
So she's like, I don't think I've ever done that before. And my goodness, they're just so amazing. So I love ribs. It's one of my favorite foods.
Whenever I get the 3-meat combo at any barbecue restaurant, ribs is always in the mix.
Yeah.
Got to be.
Ribs are just like, got to have a
It's
couple.
stuck in your teeth for like, a little time after. And I'm like, I don't want a toothpick. I want to fight with it. I want
it to stay there. It's part of the experience. Give it 12 hours to linger because it's great.
That is probably the worst thing, honestly. I mean, we joke and kid. That's probably the worst thing about ribs. You're tasting them days later. And,
they're still there.
And you're like, I just found some of this. What was that? All right. My George, and it's not a shocker. It's the very first Crushmore of today, our very first Crushmore, and I'm going to go with ribs.
Yes, come on. Yes, Crushmore.
Look, that's why I didn't talk so much on yours, and you knew it. You knew it was coming.
Yep.
Ribs are probably – okay, so Andy, we've had this conversation, and most people will probably try to exercise the demon here. When I talk about my favorite foods – right? And everybody loves Mexican and, Latino food, Spanish, all these different things, Chinese. At the very top of mine is probably barbecue or American.
Yeah.
And this is at the very top of that. It's probably my Georgia foods. It is probably my favorite food. If my wife is cooking ribs, either ribs or pork chops, I am a happy person. We could do that every night. Every other night, we'll just skip the 2. And that is my favorite. And you mentioned it, but I love the sauce. Look, I want it to be baked on, and then I want it to be poured on. And I want, like, when I'm eating, I got to go take a shower. Like, I got to wash all the barbecue out of my face, right? And you mentioned something. You don't like them when they fall off the bone. Listen, if they're done right if they fall off the bone. But I'm not throwing anything away that is on that bone. I'm still gnawing at the bone. Yeah. I'm using it as a toothpick. I'm that guy with chicken wings. I'm that guy with pork chops. I am going all around the bone. I'm okay with that. But if they are cooked slow and low and perfect, the right bastings, barbecue sauce, whether it's salt or sugar or all the things that goes on that, I am the biggest fan. And I like I said, I love country style, and I also really, really love baby back. So
great.
Obviously,
I agree with you.
It's my number one. It's the number one of the 3. I'm getting that. I'm getting brisket, and I'm getting sausage if they've got it. That's my 3. If I'm going to 3-meat special, it is it. All right, so that's my George. Pastor Doug, what you think?
Well, about ribs. Unlike Andy, I like my ribs dripping with barbecue sauce.
Yes.
I like when the sauce runs down my arms to my elbows.
Oh yeah, I need a shower.
I want to look like I just delivered a baby. I want it everywhere. I want the sauce everywhere. Man.
I don't think I'm ever going to eat ribs the same way now.
Out and it's just a little piece like this, and you're like, "This is
exactly, man."
I need more of it.
You got to lick every finger. You got to get a towel for your arms.
My favorite barbecue places are when they actually put a roll of paper towels on your table.
Yes, they know you're coming. Okay. Right, here is the roll. The whole roll is on the table.
Good one.
Here's your napkins for the day. All right, Pastor
for this meal.
Mr. George.
All right, my George.
Yeah.
My George, I saved the best for last, and I knew right away that this was going to be my number one. My favorite barbecue food is bread pudding.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You
didn't see that coming,
he
did you?
Skipped the whole meat section. We're going to throw the pudding on top, baby.
Man, I live for the bread pudding. The little hole-in-the-wall Picayune barbecue spot we go to is in a gas station, a former gas station. The dining room is not even walled in. It's just screened in. I mean, this is the, perfect Americana barbecue place, but they do homemade bread pudding every day they're open. They're open 3 days a week, and they make it in-house with rum sauce. It is the best bread pudding I have ever put in my mouth. In fact, I save it for last and sometimes I eat 2 of them, one in the beginning and one in the end, because it's so good.
That's good.
Yes.
That's good. So question, because this is a polarizing item for this reason. Raisins or no raisins in the bread pudding?
No raisins.
See, some people do it either way.
I don't like raisins at all. You know, it's like a grape that didn't make the cut. I don't like that. You know, it's like, live up to your, to your name.
Be a grape or be nothing.
Lots of rum sauce, extra rum sauce, man.
So you mentioned that too. I have this story. My great grandmother made bread pudding at every, family gathering we would have. And it was one of the best ones that I remember as a kid, but she lived to 100. So towards the end of her life, she made it again. I mean, she was, 98, 99 at this point and made it. And I was like, oh yeah, Mama made bread pudding. This is going to be so good. And she had like a whiskey sauce, right? Everybody, rum sauce, whatever. And I've had it before. And, when you cook all that down, the alcohol is burned out. It's not anything. It just has like a taste or whatever. Well, she didn't cook it this time because I poured some sauce on that thing. And I was like, Mama, you just, that's all you did. Like, just poured whiskey on it. So that's a memory that I have.
Getting drunk off the bread pudding.
I said, I can eat one bite. I'm done, Mama.
A little Jack and Coke
is a favorite of mine. It's an absolute favorite of mine. Pastor Doug, I've got another recipe for you.
Oh, yes.
My wife makes a white chocolate rum sauce, and it's a white chocolate sauce that after we got sober, she went to a different kind of sauce to eliminate having alcohol in the house and having to cook it down. And it is freaking amazing. Every event we have, she goes, should I make the bread pudding? And I'm like, what? It's no event if we don't have it.
Yeah, always make it.
It is amazing. So it's white chocolate bread pudding. It is off the chain.
Great. Yeah. Look, great mountains all around. We have given you guys our Rushmore of barbecue food. Some surprises there at the end, but overall, I would probably take any of your plates.
One Crushmore ribs. So look,
one on the ribs.
Just real quick. One of the things I was thinking about putting on there was barbecued baked chicken. Barbecued baked chicken. And it reminds me when I was a kid, back when I was a little guy, we didn't have crawfish in Louisiana for every Easter. Apparently that happened 15 years after me, and every event that I go to for Easter, they got crawfish. But when I was a kid, they did barbecue chicken. And if I get a good piece of barbecue chicken, it brings me right back to Easter when I was like 5 years old. I really want to put that one on there too. But man, it's good mountains. Really awesome.
Mountains all around. Good mountains all around. I almost did pulled pork. Almost made my list. That's another meat, but I had to throw in some sides and dessert there just to kind of balance it out some. But overall, I hope that I'm invited to you guys' barbecue next time we have that, because you guys sound like you know what you're talking about. So give me a good one.
I know what I'm talking about as far as eating it. I can't make most of it. All right, guys, that was an amazing Rushmore. Pastor Doug, thank you for coming on board with us. It's great hanging out with you always. But to come and take this little journey with us, Andy and I started this back in January, but we became friends at your church, and now he's on staff with you, and man, we just love everything about it. We had to have you on, and when we were at which time, we were like, got to be in the summer. The guy loves vacation. The guy loves barbecue. He loves going out and just enjoying America, and we got to have you on. So
thank you so much, Kirk.
Good mountains.
Yeah, man, look at that right there.
There it is. Hey, look, when you came on, I said, is he in the Smokies right now?
Up here, I'm always in the Smokies.
Always. Yes. Pretty soon you will be there forever. I mean, that's your plan, I know.
It could be, bro.
All right. So look, we're gonna do this. Pastor Doug, we're gonna ask you to hang out just a little longer. We always do a second segment, and actually we did a second segment on this segment we did on your podcast.
Right.
About 3-4 months ago, right? And it's called Who's Your George?
Yep.
All right, guys, Who's Your George? We've been in Who's Your George from the beginning. It is the OG. The original George was basically just a conversation between me and Andy, and he was going to ask me 10, 15 questions, see how fast I can get them done, see if I could do them under a minute. But we have evolved since having Paul on with us. We've decided to do a Who's Your George kind of contest with our contestant or with our guests. And what's going to happen today is we all prepared 10 questions that have to do with Americana, 4th of July, barbecues, whatever it may be. And we have to pick the very best, what we would consider the George, as fast as possible. It's not always our George because we're really trying to think fast, but the idea is to give your favorite of that specific one. Each one of us are keeping a timer for the other two, and we'll see who can knock out 10 questions. Who's your George the fastest?
Yeah, this is fitting. It's 4th of July. Who's your George? It just makes sense. It's too perfect to happen. So what we'll do is, Kirk, I'm going to ask you 10 questions. Pastor Doug will keep a timer. Kirk will ask Pastor Doug, and then Pastor Doug will ask me who got the quickest amount of time is the winner of this. I'm the reigning champ as of right now, so I've got a title to defend, and we'll see how this goes. So it's going to be a great time. So Kirk and Pastor Doug, are you guys ready for Who's Your George? All right,
I'm ready.
Start the timer after I ask the first question. Finish asking the first question. Okay, so Kirk, who's your George, or what's your George of pie?
Apple.
Fast food restaurant.
Burger King.
Classic car.
Camaro SS, 69 Camaro SS.
Classic rock song.
American Pie.
Olympic sport.
Winter would be curling.
Okay. Action movie.
Action movie. Rambo.
Historical figure.
George Washington.
There you go. Monument.
Statue of Liberty.
Vacation spot.
Disney World.
Firework.
Sparkler.
Stop. All right. What do we get? What's our time?
45.95.
45.95. I'm going to type that in. Kirk, pretty good showing. 45.95. All right. So then I will keep a timer now. Kirk, you're going to ask your 10 questions to Pastor Doug. Let me pull that up. Okay. Whenever you're ready.
All right, Pastor Doug, are you ready?
I think.
What is your favorite state to visit?
Tennessee.
Who's your favorite president?
Ronald Reagan.
What's your favorite memory of the 4th?
Shooting fireworks with my dad.
Americana song.
God bless the USA.
U.S. landmark.
Mount Rushmore.
What's your favorite burger?
Burger King. Whopper.
Car.
57 Chevy.
Sports team.
New Orleans Saints.
Amusement park.
Bluegrass Park in Arkansas is real tiny.
And pie.
Apple.
Finish.
All right. So you ready for your time?
Yeah.
Pastor Doug, 49.5.
Oh, the amusement park got him. I thought for sure you'd say Dollywood.
I think it was the park that messed you up. I think that was the one. We were there.
I was thinking of amusement park, and you asked music park. I would have said Dollywood if I'd have been thinking.
I said amusement park. Oh.
I thought you said a musical park.
Oh, man. That's the mix-up.
Yeah, okay.
Sometimes it happens. Okay, 49.5.
That's my bad.
All right, that's the king.
Okay.
I'm trying to stumble you. I knew you hadn't.
All right, so Pastor Doug is going to ask me 10 questions. Kirk, you're going to keep the time. The time to beat right now is 45.95.
All right, tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready when you are.
All right, here we go. Question number 1. What is your favorite summer sport?
Football.
Grocery store chain.
Rouse's.
Flavor of snowball.
Nectar.
Type of firework.
Poppers. Snap poppers.
Which direction do you cut the watermelon?
hot dog style, longitudinal, whatever.
Patriotic movie.
The Patriot.
Summertime song.
Summer of '69.
Candy bar.
Hershey's plain.
Branch of the military.
Navy.
Summer vacation spot.
Gulf Shores.
Time. That time?
That's it.
Drum roll. Andy, you win with 39 seconds.
Dang, boy.
39, baby. I told you, man. I'm just. Who's your George is my game, man.
You are in the groove, man.
I'm like the Tom Brady of who's your George. You know what I mean? Nobody
You'll probably play into your 40s.
Yeah. So hey, that was a great time, man. Awesome.
Man, what a fun day.
Awesome. We half of those I probably lied about because, like Kirk said, it's just off the top. What did I say? Hershey bar? That's not my favorite.
Yeah, you said something that you probably don't even like. Yeah.
Rouses.
Yeah, Rouses. Yeah.
Rouses.
I don't know.
Like summer of '60. Like, so you said favorite summertime song, and I just thought of a song with the name "Summer" in the title. So let me just do that one. And football is not a summer sport.
It's not a summer sport at all. I was thinking maybe you're talking about the European League. I don't know.
But hey, all that matters at the end of the day,
he's talking about
seconds. Reigning champ.
So 39 seconds, boy. Reigning champ. Hey, thanks, y'all. Thanks so much for letting me be on the Rushmore today.
Did Andy really win?
Yeah, the comments will probably let me know.
Great time. Happy 4th of July to everybody. It's July. We have 4 things coming up. Obviously, we're doing barbecue this week, but we have 3 more amazing summertime episodes. We got dessert treats coming up with Randy and a few others. So it's gonna be a great time. Hang out with us. Go check out last week's episode if you want to know what's all coming up. We got a fantasy football league we're going to be doing. We're going live on Friday, every first Friday. Hopefully you checked out last Friday and saw what we were doing. And it's just been a real great time hanging out and letting you guys know. Pastor Doug, thank you for coming on. Pastor Doug, how can they find your podcast? What's it called?
Yes.
Stories I Didn't Tell Last Sunday. It's the best way to find it is on the Journey app, but it's on every platform where any app is listened to. It's on Apple.
And we actually went on there a couple months back, a couple weeks back, and kind of told our testimony, and we shared it on our page. So one's down.
Let the Rushmore community know, Pastor Doug. Let them know, what is your podcast all about? What is the premise behind yours?
Well, the premise behind Stories I Didn't Tell Last Sunday is all of the stories that I work on for my Sunday sermon. About 90% of them never make it because there's only, so many Sundays in the year. So the podcast are the stories that I didn't get to tell last Sunday. So that's the whole point about it. So it's usually a different story or a different guest telling a story. Like when you guys came on, it's about your story. So
great podcast to really kind of just peel back some layers of Christianity and as well as just get to know your staff and your friends. Because that's what I love the most about is getting to see some of my old friends back home. And I try and watch every one. One of my favorites was when you had Al on and you were talking about apologetics.
Man, one of my favorite ones.
Episode. But man, I really enjoyed being on it too.
And the producer of the show was a guest on the Rushmore Show. Your son, Cade, was a couple in Music March.
One of our best episodes ever, to be honest. It's up there. So Cade, his Pastor Doug's son. Yep, that was a blessing in itself. So
well, the podcast was really Cade's idea. It was his baby, and we developed it. Man, it's doing really well. We had a guest on about a month ago that's working in the Ukraine, and it's one of our most listened to.
I remember that one
ever. Yeah. So, it's getting some traction. Appreciate you helping me promote it. It's also at jf.church. If you want to go to our website, you can link to the podcast right from jf.church.
And guys, if you are in the Slidell area or, you're passing through to go visit folks back in New Orleans, you guys stop in and visit Pastor Doug and Andy over at the church. Where are you guys located at, Pastor Doug?
We're on Pontchartrain in Slidell, the south side, 3127 Pontchartrain in Slidell, Louisiana. But driving directions are on jf.church.
Yeah, and also look, if you are not in the Slidell area, Louisiana or whatever, and because look, we've got some fans and some subscribers who are all over the country. We are online too, so just
every Sunday we're online, live and online at 10 a.m. and then a rebroadcast at 6 p.m. jf.church or on the Journey Fellowship Church app.
Awesome.
Pastor
Doug.
So in the comments, let us know what your favorite barbecue is.
Yeah.
In the comments. Also, let us know who you think really won the Who's Your George contest.
Listen, they hate us because they ain't us, man. Come on, baby.
Yeah, and
I think I may have won.
We asked some really cool questions last week about what do you guys want to do this month and hanging out, and you probably heard some of those questions on Friday. So drop all those things in the comments, get that conversation going, and we'll see you next time. All right, Andy, this is the time of the episode where we get to tell our friends goodbye and see you next time. How do we end this thing?
This is the Rushmore Show, where it's all about your top 4
and nothing more.
Peace.